Okay. Good morning. Welcome to Building a Strong Foundation for a Healthy Families Summit. I'm your host, Andrea Milioti, and today's guest is Jackie Bailey, and she is, hold on one second, just a little brief intro about her. She she says, "Don't tell anyone. Where the words which silenced the child Jackie Bailey was. When she finally broke the silence as an adult, her hidden value revealed itself. Jackie is the author of Self Centered Leadership, Becoming Influential, Intentional, and Exceptional, published in 2014, and a 2015 semifinalist in the World Championship of Public Speaking, placing her in the top 98 speakers of 33,000 competitors. Today, Jackie runs the Speak, Feed, Lead public speaking studio in Redmond, Washington, and is the founder and executive director of the Speak, Feed, Lead Project, a nonprofit with a mission to empower children, teens, and adults with public speaking skills. So we are going to speak today with Jackie. So I'm going to ask you, Jackie, welcome. It's so glad to have you, and just a little bit of background of how you got started in that.
Hi, Andrea. Thank you so much. It's delightful to be with you today. And I appreciate all the impact you are making on the world. I never thought that I was anyone of significance who could make an impact. In fact, you mentioned in my introduction that there were 3 words that actually changed who I was. And as a victim of childhood sexual abuse, those 3 words were heard very frequently in my life, which was don't tell anyone. And it literally kept me from speaking in some ways because I was always afraid I might tell something that I wasn't supposed to tell. And so when I say that I was a silenced child, I mean that in every sense of the word. And I recognize today that there are many children who, for various reasons, are also feeling silenced. And I don't believe that parents intentionally silence their children, but there are many things that we do and say that might teach our kids that what they have to say is unimportant or not worth hearing, or we react to it in such a way that they learn, I'm not going to do that again. But with my own experience, I remained silent until I was a married adult woman and I had 2 young children. And one of the abusers in my life, who had been involved in the most chronic situation for me, he actually had a child of his own, a baby girl. And that threw me into an emotional crisis because now I knew that remaining silent means that another child was going to be in danger if I didn't say something. And it was imminent danger. I knew it was. And yet I had so much to risk at that point. Because I had remained silent, no one knew what I had suffered except for my abuser. And so breaking that silence to my husband meant, well, maybe he would see the truly ugly person that I was and how really shameful I was and wouldn't want to continue spending life with me. Or what if I wasn't believed and people thought I was crazy and then try to take my children away from me? And so those were the things going on in my mind, while at the same time realizing that by speaking up, I could possibly at least make people aware who are around this child that they need to keep her safe. Taking my own life was one of the options I actually considered, because I thought, well, I'm not sure that I can actually break this silence. And yet I'm also not sure that I could live with the consequences if I don't. So taking my life seemed pretty reasonable.
Yeah, really, that would be with everything. That really is quite a story, and to like be in silence for that long about it. That
Well,
really,
yeah, it is sad and it's not unusual. I mean, thankfully, that opportunity to speak out came to me in my early 20s, but I know a lot of women who, even in their 50s, have never dealt with childhood abuse. So, in that regard, I do feel that I was blessed. In the final analysis, though, I decided that I loved my children more than I hated myself
right,
because I thought if I go to my grave without at least the warning,
right,
then no one would know to protect my own children. And
right,
so that's what it
right.
came down to. So I took those original 3 words, don't tell anyone. And I, for the first time, spoke the 3 most important words that perhaps I had to say at the time, which was, I have a secret. And I started to break that silence with people whom I thought might support me the most, or at least were most likely to do so.
I
And
love that.
little
I
by
love
little,
that.
I started
Yeah.
sharing it.
Yeah, to reach so many people, because there's so many people when they probably hear those words, and it's like, in different aspects, because there's so much to talk, like as far as trauma goes. And when I do working with moms, and my own thing is about parenting with any kind of trauma is very different,
Mhm.
because it's not sometimes the way you want, and that could be like what you experience or anything. Like I had my own trauma, which was not, it was more of like a parental trauma that I experienced, as far as being, feeling not heard, not
Yeah,
enough, not
yeah.
there, like I wasn't meeting. And I held this all my life too. So when I listened to that, it's so much, those words too can reach so many people. It's amazing. And
Yeah.
definitely, I mean, I love that, because now, how can we like get our children to answer us, like more than like with that, it's okay, all those little words. I had that too. My son is 22. He's still good for that sometimes when it comes to his friends, but he'll probably talk more. But with me, it's always, yeah, yeah, okay.
Right.
You know?
Well, I will say, Andrea, that the behaviors that our children exhibit typically are things they've been taught. And generally speaking, they've probably been taught by us as parents. And I'm a parent and I'm a grandparent, so I am not casting stones at anyone whom I would not cast at myself as well. But when we teach our kids that when they tell us the truth about something that happened at school today, maybe they got a C on a test, or they forgot to study, or they didn't get their home, and we react like, what did you do? How many times have I told you? Da, 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 da. Okay, one, we've taught our kids that there's a judgment that will come along with everything they tell us, and mama drama will also ensue. And so they don't want to be part of that. So they don't necessarily open up and tell us everything. That's one possible reaction. The other possible scenario is that when we ask our kids a question like, hey, so how was your day at school? And we have a device in front of us and we're texting or emailing someone while they're trying to answer our question, they know we're not listening to them. They know that we know they're not engaged with us. So they learn really quickly that if I try to give the real, true, long answer, mom doesn't listen to me anyway. So what's the point? That's another possible scenario that we inadvertently teach our kids. And I know that we love our kids and we want the best for our kids and we would die for our children.
Right.
It's the little things sometimes that we overlook that actually has the most impact on them. However, so I like to say, number one, stop talking at your kids so much and open up opportunities to talk with them. And because if you imagine for a second of all the adults in our kids' lives and all of the statements that they just have at them all the time, and pick up your shoes or put away your backpack, sit down at your desk, be quiet. They're not really conversations. We're not engaging with our kids. We're just throwing statements at them. And so if we as parents can be a little bit more conscious about, are we actually throwing statements at our kids or are we inviting them to engage with us? So the second step I would say is to ask more questions. But ask questions that are atypical from the ones you're asking now, because if that's not working, don't keep trying it, right?
And I guess
But go ahead.
not to interrupt, but I guess like that's so good. Like a good point to that would be like thinking today, like you said, with the phone, right? And it's like that's our kids always with the phone. It's like we don't like that.
Right.
So that to me is like they don't have any conversation. So maybe if we think a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Is that
Yeah. And I think, we can set rules if our devices are part of the communication wall,
right?
then we as parents can say, once you get home from school, you have 30 minutes on your phone or whatever, and then you've got to spend maybe a half hour or whatever on your homework, and then we're going to sit down at dinner and we're going to chat without any devices at the table. We're going to chat as a family. You can set rules like that depending upon your family situation. That's always helpful. But
Right.
the questions that you ask your kids then are not like, how was your day at school? Well, that's really general. It doesn't open up for them to actually share anything where feelings were involved. So instead of that general question, you might ask something like, what was the best part of your day today? Or what did you get really excited about today? Did you make any new friends today? Or you can go to the dark side too and say, what was the most frustrating part of your day? Was there something that you were hoping would happen and didn't? Or something that you were hoping was going to happen and it did? And just then listen, okay? And respond without judgment. Do not get emotional yourself as a parent. But ask follow-up questions like, well, how did that make you feel when that happened? Or what do you think you should have said? Or what do you think you should have done when that happened? Or what do you think you can do next time if that should happen again? And allow them to be part of the problem-solving equation where you're just there for support, but give them the empowered opportunity to figure it out themselves with you there to instill values and perhaps some ideas. But if you can do that non-judgmentally, then you're going to be known as a place where your kids can come to open up to you without feeling like it's going to be just an additional problem that they have to deal with.
So good, because that's like it's inviting them to have actual conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
Instead
Well,
of,
I'll
like
give
you
you
said, the front, like those quick questions, right?
Mhm.
Which is going to give that, that's okay.
Yeah. Well, let me give you a really clear example of what I mean by the way that you ask questions, because this abuse that I'd suffered had gone way into my teenage years.
Right.
And my mom and I seldom had heart-to-heart talks. She just was not the kind of person. In fact, I kind of think she knew about the abuse, but that's just a suspicion.
Yeah.
Anyway, she came one night into my bedroom and she sat on the edge of my bed and she asked, are you letting someone do something to you that they shouldn't be? Now, she must have suspected something was going on with me. She must have suspected there was some uneasiness or lack of peace or unhappiness going on for her to ask that type of question. But the way she worded it, Andrea, crushed me forever. She said, are you letting someone do something to you? So what she did in stating it that way is that she put the fault on me.
That's on you.
And of course, I'm not going to now admit that I am such a horrible person that I would let someone like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So again, asking questions is important, but we have to ask them in a way that doesn't cast judgment on our kids. So that, because if she had asked it in a different way, if she would have said, you seem unhappy or at ill of peace or something lately, and I'm wondering if someone is perhaps hurting you in a way.
Yeah, it's a different wording.
That's making you unhappy.
Right. It's another wording.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure I would have opened up at that point, but there might have been another opportunity for me to go to her and then say, when you asked me that question the other night, I wasn't ready to tell you, but I'm ready to tell you now.
Right. Exactly.
But I was never ready to open up to that because of the way she worded it. I was at fault for whatever was happening to me. So Those are the things we have to be really careful of, and we can do them so easily without thinking and unintentionally, but it really impacts our kids. It really does.
Really, that's like amazing. Because we don't think of it. We don't realize it, that the way we word it, you
Mhm.
know, is that
Absolutely.
impact, good or bad. But sometimes we don't realize that we're saying, like, I'm sure your mother didn't realize. Not
She
that
did. She sensed something. She sensed something, but she didn't quite know how to ask it the right way. And, there was a moment earlier than that, a few years earlier, when my parents were reading the newspaper. I was probably 10 or 11 at that point. My parents were reading the newspaper, and an article was in the newspaper about a friend of theirs who had just been arrested for molesting his own children. And my mom out loud said, "Oh my gosh, I'm glad he never did that to you." She said it to me. "I'm glad he never did that to you." Okay, well, he had done that to me. But by her not asking, has Ray ever done anything like that to you? It's, if she'd asked me, maybe again, I would have opened up. But she said, "I'm glad he's never done that to you." Well, now I'm going to take away my mother's gladness by actually saying, well, he has.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
in a 10 or 11-year-old mind, okay, that was the ability I had at that point to interpret what was going on. And I
Right.
decided, okay, I can't break my mom's heart, so I'm going to stay silent. And so we silent. And when I say that, if our kids don't talk to us, it's because they've learned that it's not either safe to, or it's going to cause mama drama, or they're going to get judged by something that they say. It's because we've taught them to do that in certain ways that we've asked, or things that we've said to them, unmeaning to do, but nevertheless has had an impact.
Oh my God, that is
So
amazing. We
it's
don't
just need to
realize
be more
that.
careful. Yeah, we just
Oh,
need to be more careful.
oh my God, we don't realize that so much. Okay, yeah, that's really cool. Another question, in what ways can parents empower their children to be confident speakers?
Oh, well, that's awesome. I think it's asking questions like, "Hey, what is the best thing you've ever done? What do you think you're the best skilled at? If you were going to be in the Olympics, what do you think you would be as an Olympian?" And just listen, because when you ask questions like that, or um, what what is the biggest moment when you feel like you really failed? And you learn some of the things that either motivate your kids or don't motivate your kids. And that's valuable information, because if you know what motivates your kids, then you can encourage them to do things you want them to do. If they're motivated by achievement or reward or food or fun activities, now you've got a reward system that you can use to get them to do some things you'd like for them to do, and are going to be happy with it, right? Because you
Yeah.
understand them a little bit better. So first of all, it is truly understanding your kids and asking the right questions, and then allowing them to just really share feelings with you. Because I teach public speaking courses to the youngest kids, which are 10, all the way up, a lot of my students, they will have said to me in confidence, "My parents just don't listen to me. I don't think I can share a lot of things with my parents." And so now they rely on sharing some of those things with friends at school. That can be dangerous if your friends
Right,
aren't actually trustworthy, or if they're not going to keep those confidences for you and turn it into something that is blackmail, or going to use it against you in social media, and things like that happen all the time. So when we don't allow opportunity for us to really know our kids and understand them, and quit pushing them into so many things, but actually find out, what is it that you love? What is it that you love? When you think about the assignments they get at school, and they're required to go research a topic or research a person, and then come back and give a report. Do you know how hard it is for me as a public speaking teacher to break the brainwashed cycle of report that kids do all day long at school? Report is emotionless. It's grade driven. So they've got a report on something that supposedly they learned a lot about, but they didn't care anything about. And now they get a grade on what they spoke about that means nothing to them. Instead of the opportunity, at least at home, to know that when I get to speak up, it's about something that I really love and that mom and dad are going to listen to me and they're going to support me and they're going to understand this is what drives me. And then they're going to support me to do what is necessary to achieve whatever I want to. And it's not being busy every day after school with some other activity. It's actually doing what they really want to do. And then when my students have an opportunity to speak about those things, that is the added dynamic that truly makes them feel empowered because they don't get asked the questions. Tell me about anything you want to, and what do you love the most? What brings you happiness? What makes you feel creative? What brings you the greatest joy? That kind of thing. And when they get to talk about that from a heart-centered level, and sometimes they have to search for that a little bit. It's not right there because they've swallowed it down so much that they've got to pull it up a little bit. And so we have programs that help to dig that information out of them so that they can share it. But
almost like a little bit of journaling. Like almost like a journaling type of act, kind of teaching them how to get those questions, like journaling prompts, like what.
Absolutely. They do a lot of writing in our classes because journaling is an important part. I learned that in my therapy and healing process. Writing things. Yeah, writing things is a great healing tool. And so we do that a lot in our courses. So it is some writing, but it's mostly speaking and sharing from their heart. And they learn how to deliver that in a powerful way so that people want to hear more. And since March, Andrea, this is what's exciting. Since March, we have filled 50 speaker slots on international summits with our young students, ages 10 to 19, have spoken on international summits about what they love, about what drives them. And it's been so inspirational and motivational. And so that is something that I didn't think about as part of my vision when I started this, is getting them on stages all around the world, because that meant travel before the pandemic. It meant I'd have to get them on these stages all around the world and travel there. But now they can just get on a Zoom meeting like we are and give a speech and the whole world hears it. And it's incredible.
I'll tell you, that's one thing about the pandemic, that Zoom opened up where people can still have they can have now they're in person, but that Zoom allows everything. Even if they have it in person, it allows also having a live, so people can now be on Zoom who can't get there. It's everything. So that's amazing from ages, what did you say, 12 to
10, 12. Age 10 to 19. Yeah.
The age 10, that is amazing. What opportunities for those kids.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had one 10-year-old girl that has spoken specifically on 3 different summits. And sometimes summits have a particular theme about them. And each time she's said, oh, I want to speak on this because that matches that theme. And again, it's sort of their report mindset, but it's okay because she feels like she has material she can share about all of these themes. So that's empowering to her, that she doesn't have to speak on the same thing every time, but she can find something about a particular subject that she can relate to, that she connects to. And now she feels empowered to talk about it and give her insight and her ideas. And I'll tell you, it's all brilliant. It's just all brilliant. These kids they have brilliant minds. They are empathic human beings, and they have this great connection with a source that's greater than themselves. And sometimes we shoot that down rather than build it up inside of them. And the pandemic has really wreaked havoc on a lot of those kids. And so giving them voice and giving them opportunity to speak out again is going to be part of the healing of this entire planet. Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. Oh my God, this is so good for so many parents to hear, and because their kids have so many opportunities, and oh my God, it's really, really awesome. Now, I also know that, or the people that are watching this, you have like a free, I think it was something like of a 30-day.
Yes, I have the best neuroscientific tool for helping a brain to light up and be motivated to do whatever it wants, right? To lead our lives. So it's called Positive Prime. And it is like a vision board on steroids. So, a vision board is where you might post images of places you want to go or cars you want to have or the perfect Mr. Right that you want to marry, whatever the case might be. And you look at this every day, and that starts to train your brain for what you aspire to have or want or do or be or whatever.
Right.
And the more that we think about that, the more we can manifest that. Well,
Right.
positive prime is that happening in real time. It's not, there are still images, but they're coming at you either slowly or they're coming at you hypnotically quickly, but your brain is picking up this information and it's helping you to manifest what you want. There's also, it involves some images of smiling people, doing amazing things for others, beautiful places around the world, affirmations like I can do anything or I am more capable than I can imagine. And when you see a statement like that, you internalize it, you say it to yourself, and your brain believes it. There's even science related to the smiles that are on people's faces in these sessions. They're called Duchenne smiles, and that makes our brain feel like smiling and convinces us that we're happy. So while we're watching this session, which can be as little as 3 minutes to make an 8-hour impact, it changes our positive thinking into manifesting things for us. And if we can keep our brain positive more than negative, we're just going to be all around happier. It's not going to keep challenges from happening coming into our lives, but it's going to help us to deal with them better. And I'll tell you, kids have so many challenges right now. So if we can help them to have a healthy mindset, oh my gosh, it's going to impact their day so much more. So we start every one of our classes with a 3-minute positive prime session. And what I'm offering your listeners is 30 days free. And I mean free, because you don't even have to put in a credit card to start using it. But they will have access suddenly to hundreds of sessions from people like Jack Canfield and Marcy Shimoff and Sean Joe Hall, big name people who are part of Motivation that you can watch their affirmative statements, some images from their teachings, and really train your brain for success, for happiness, for creativity, for gratitude, for feelings of joy throughout your day. 6 to 8 hours is the benefit, scientifically proven. And so and one person who opens that account with the free link can actually invite 4 additional family members to have their own accounts. And even if you choose to do an annual membership, which is only $199, so even after 30 days, if you choose to do that, you basically have 5 memberships for that rate. So if you've got 4 children in the home and you have it for yourself, all 4 of your kids can create their own account through your account, and they can create their own sessions in the way that they want.
That's amazing. That's great.
It is amazing. And the best part about it is you can upload your own images. So just like a vision board, if you want to go to Tahiti someday, put an image of Tahiti, upload it into your positive prime, and that's going to show up.
Do your own virtual vision board.
Absolutely. And you can even use your own music because there's music associated with it too. So you can use the session, or you can play your own, Josh Groban music or whatever it is that really inspires you. So there's lots of ways to make it more and more personalized for you, and at the same time get that proven scientific benefit. So I invite everybody to
that. Oh my God. This is going to be so helpful for so many people and just help them. I mean, both parents and kids.
Absolutely.
This is for everybody. It's a no-brainer. Definitely awesome, amazing. Thank you.
Well, and I really want these parents that have ADHD kids, or they have autistic children, or children with other disabilities. Positive Prime can truly be a life send for that. If they have eyes and can see, they can watch this session for 3 minutes, put on their favorite music while they watch this, and I truly believe you will see amazing changes in your child.
Awesome. Absolutely. Oh my God, 100%. I love it. I really do. And definitely, I'm seeing it as kids with, ADHD. Oh my God, especially all the parents that I talk with, that their kids with these challenging behaviors and ADHD and anxiety, autism. So many of this could really, really help.
Absolutely.
makes
And I
such a
recommend
difference.
watching it at a very slow speed for those kids because sometimes the really quick flashy can trigger something, but for the really slow for those types of kids with the brain issues, I would suggest watching the slower version of it
Right.
at slow speed so they have time to sort of
So they
digest.
have time to absorb. Oh, yes, I know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As somebody too is like I said, my son and that's part of my whole thing. Like I later, not until I was probably almost 50 at the time, and I realized something is up. Right? Something is
Mhm.
up. I know I'm like I get anxious, and doctors always tell me anxiety, but there's more. And I'm thinking of my son. I went and had myself diagnosed, and I have ADHD. But I
Wow.
lived my whole life not knowing, and I
Managing
had
it.
to
Yeah.
figure it out later. And now I see my whole life in a lot of things. I was like, "Holy God!" And when I saw my son, I said, "That's me." That's why it was such a struggle as a mom, you
Yeah.
know. And it's so funny how what this is really amazing. I'm seeing all this. This could really. It's something I'm going to definitely.
I guarantee it will help you.
I'm
If
sure.
you can watch it at least 3 minutes a day, you're going to see a tremendous benefit.
Yeah, I'm
And
excited
when that
about this.
30 days is over, you can keep. Now, I have a session that I've created for my students. It's called Speak with Power and Purpose. And so a lot of the affirmations that you'll see in my session are related to speaking, having courage to speak up, and that kind of thing. And it was made for kids. So you'll see a lot of images of young people having
Right.
fun with families and friends. And that session, my session, is always free. You get to keep that forever, even if you don't continue past the 30 days with a membership. You get to at least have my session to watch with your family, which on its own, I think is very powerful because you're talking about having better communication with your kids. And I do feel that my session is going to help with that. So
Awesome.
don't lose
Amazing.
anything.
I love it. I love it. This has been so good, Jackie. I've learned so much, and I know people got so much value. And yes, and when they get this, they will get the links so they can go on and they can get that 30-day. Definitely have to get that because I want to, because I
Yeah,
think it's going to be great. I love it. And awesome. Thank you so much. I
you are
really
welcome. Thank
appreciate
you.
your time. I really do. And I just think this has been awesome. Great, a lot of great value. All right. I
But
want
we
to
have
thank you.
classes forming now for kids. So if you're interested in getting your child into one of our virtual classrooms, please speakfeedlead.org is our website where you will find our courses that are open for enrollment right now. And we work with the budget for any family. So please let me know
Awesome.
how we can help you.
And they can connect with you through there and anywhere
Absolutely.
else, like I guess on Facebook.
Yes, if you want to connect with me everywhere, I'm at JackieBailey360.com. JackieBailey360.com, and that will put you in connection with all of my social media, both of my for-profit and my nonprofit business, as well as some videos on there that explain a little bit more about our mission and who we are, and even some solutions for not having kids speak to you. So it's all there on that site. You can find all kinds of stuff about me.
We will have everything on awesome. Thank you so much, Jackie. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for giving us your time today and so much value. Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a
Andrew.
great day,
Bye-bye.
everybody.